On the bass, and a couple of minutes later, give the acoustic guitar there, Miriam Stone. Of course, we're going to get this tune right away so we know exactly where we are tonight. Dance. Time stands still. That was written for the very place we are sharing right now. When it was nothing but beanbags, and you know the story. It was beanbags in places such as mats to seat yourself and listen to jazz. This is where all the young musicians from the school, from the university, cut their teeth with Ira. And then I think when I was getting older and I came in here one night, everybody was crowded up here on the stage. It was just like a rock concert. It was Ira and Judy O'Hill. And I think that's the last time I remember seeing Joe down in Florida. So, but let's cut to the present, what we're doing here now. This wonderful family has come together. It's called B.R.Records. Now, some people think it's a studio, which it is, but it really is a studio, this family that you're seeing on stage. And when we got together as a band, or at least when I became part of the band, the goal was to have a little bit of Santana over here, some beautiful jazz, some beautiful cosmopolitan sounding jazz, all penned and written by these two here, Miriam Stone and Leo Cotero. And then we all became what we are here now, which is playing the music of Ira. So in a sense, like I said earlier, the lesson that Ira's music is bringing to the rest of us is still continuing. And that's how I choose, and I think how we all want to choose to see his music continuing with young students and older students that we have up here. So when you go into the studio, B.R.Records, we don't know what we're going to play that day, but I do know one thing is when that music stopped, or when, so to speak, when Ira left this earth, the music didn't stop, but the music had to continue in a way that we saw. So Miriam had her acoustic guitar out. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like 9, I had my acoustic guitar, and my dad would have me up on stage, and we'd play this next tune called Little Train of Kaipira.
Garota. On the sax, Miriam Stone on the Jimi Hendrix vibe. Kevin Abato on batería. Javier Eduardo Espinosa on bass. We got a couple more for you. Just wanted to remember how we made it through all those solos, I don't know. So the story was, a little story, a young lad came in, actually a genius drummer, when I heard him a few years ago at the last Co-op concert. And I wanted him to go from Elvin Jones to Bossa Nova to swing to Latin, you know, back forth. And the kid was like, I don't know what to do. And Brian Murphy's like, just hang out, do it, you know. You went to school, you learned all the notes, you learned all the chops, now you gotta forget all that. It's one of those moments. And that was my pop. And I would watch him, you know, I gotta tell you a little bit myself. He would always talk about, he says, here's my son, he's got a rock career, which is true. I learned to speak the language of jazz only in the last few years because I got to go with my pop to Chicago. And Chicago is where the renowned jazz festival happens. And what happened is it was scheduled on the month of Charlie Parker's birthday month. And the world famous Jazz Showcase, which my dad called the Carnegie Hall Jazz, would host Ira. So from the locals, they would say, well, I know when the Chicago Festival's on because Ira's in town. So I got to go there and really hang out and stretch out and play some real jazz with my pop, as many young musicians did, as many of the people that I recorded with did. So we're here because of a gift from Ira, I gotta tell you that, and the world of jazz that just keeps on going here in the Hearts. And thanks to the Jazz Co-op for keeping this going here, and for your cherished love for the Sullivan family and for it as well. We got a couple more tunes, so like I said, it's like speed dating. We're going from era to era and sound to sound. This one was arguably the birth of New Age, if I would say, written by Ralph Towner, Icarus. And this verse crept its way into our family's hearts by the way of strings attached with Debbie Spring, Nicole Yarling, John Yarling, and of course, David Einhorn, a wonderful theologian and bass player. And they all played this beautiful tune. It was like none other, man. So we're going to switch up guitars here for this, because I get a little different sound. Remember all those horns Dad would bring up here and plug in? Flugelhorn, trumpet, sax, flute. I only got 2 guitars. I gotta try to keep up. this. So the sounds that you're hearing from this music, keep in mind, are when Ira relocated his young family from Chicago to Florida, and that's when his sound changed and he got his own sound. So hopefully we're still capturing that. And I think we're going to be changing one of the tunes during this set. I'll let you guys know. It's going to be easy tune. I think you guys are ready for it. But for now, this is one that captures, this is a no-no when you plug in your guitar like this, guys. Not supposed to do that. It's very unprofessional. But close enough for today. This is one we would hear in Chicago. And we're going to feature our drummer, Mr. Kevin Apanto, on this too. Go for it. Circumstance are written by Simon, and if you heard Ira talk about Simon, Simon was in that same boat. He got to be a young jazz guitarist who got to experience Chicago back in the 80s and 90s, and we went there and he recorded that album. but it was recently unearthed, a CD with Simon's tune Circumstantial on it, which is in the Ira CD collection. We don't have that here tonight, but if we get a couple more shows going, I think we can get back to that. All right, so this is a tune that wasn't on the list, but like I said, Ira didn't have set lists, so we actually have a set list up here, which is against the Ira rules. So I'd like to switch up this next tune. I'm going to change the sound, if you give me a second. So I have this tape, and to my dad, when I was a kid, I would go in my dad's record collection and tapes and play all this stuff. To my dad, this is just another day at the gig. But on this tape is Ira, Jaco Pastorius, Alex Docky, and Bobby Economo. And they had played this mixed high school in Fort Lauderdale. It was young kids mixed with older kids. And on the tape, you can hear my dad go, we're gonna introduce this next tune. It hasn't been named yet. And if you play the tape, it's all garbled and distorted because it's so old. It's the song Continuum before it was even named, which is precious. But on that tape, there's a certain sound that Ira was getting with Jaco and those guys back then. It was a sound I never heard. And to this day, kids are still trying to capture that sound. The combination of brutal electronics, which was a no-no in Ira's world, with Ira's acoustic horn. But we're gonna try to capture that. And that's what my little blue friend guitars over here. So we're gonna switch up the tune here. If you guys would get ready for a little Beatles, I think we can handle it. Cool. I think a jazz crowd can handle a little Beatles. I hear a little bit of harmonics over there. I wonder who that could be. Mr. Yeah, one time. Miriam Stone on the guitar. Javier Espinosa on the bass. Kevin Abato on the drums. Our salute to the Beatles, Ira Sullivan version. I wish I could release that tape. One day I'd like to create a YouTube channel and just put all these old tapes. I mean, I've got a reel-to-reel of stuff. What have you heard this, right? I got a reel-to-reel stuff. Ira playing with Johnny Griffin at the Showcase. I mean, there's just more albums out there to be made. So, but right now, trying to live in the present as much as possible.
Here's one that I know he was proud of because Pop didn't just go out and play jazz. You knew him closely, knew how much he was just, this was like an orchestra, like Count Basie's orchestra. And it was up to him to create in his head what he wanted to hear from his musicians. So one day I came to my dad, I said, I got this tune that I wrote. It's just pretty simply about life in Miami. We had some cats working on the house one day. Cats, you know, this is musician language for people in your group. So these cats are working and they couldn't speak a lick of English. And I've lived in Miami all my life. I can't say anything other than cafecito and espresso bueno, right? So I let the guy, he let me make him a Cuban coffee even though my competition was La Careta down the street. So I made him a really strong coffee. He's like, oh, espresso bueno. So somehow this tune was born and my dad would play it night after night. And I was honored, and I think that was a really very special gift to play our tune, Espresso Bueno, which has taken a new life with each group it's played with, and so now it's been reborn, and I'll let the B.R.Records band loose on this one, Espresso Bueno. You ready? You ready, Miami? Hallelujah. So, Monday night, so we can't give you up too late. So, in tradition of ending Ira Sullivan's concert, we got a couple beautiful songs for you. Once again, I'd like you to give it up for the B.R.Records group. Although they've never met, musically we're all together at one planet, and that's the wonderful thing. We had this beautiful saxophone tone, finally got to hear this. We recorded this in the lockdown, so everybody was in separate rooms. So this is really the first time we've played this tribute album together as a full band on stage in front of you, the Jazz Co-op. We're honored. Jan Horta on the sax, Javier Eduardo Espinosa on the bass, Kevin Abato on the drums, bateria, Leo Guerrero on the guitar, Miriam Stone on the guitar, vocals, and acoustic guitar. Thank you. I forgot what I'm doing up here. It's a lot of crunching music and notes. But wow, you can hear this guitar without any amp in this church. It's amazing. My mom called me before I started there. She said something. She said, "Remember, you don't remember the time. You probably weren't born, but I think the power went out here." And it was Jody Ori and Ira gig, so I think they just played the rest of the gig like that. And Ira was a strong supporter of acoustic musical instruments, and that's what jazz is. So we thank you for letting us make our music up here the way we did tonight, which is a little more electronic than what Ira would have done. But we hope the youth of today listen to the Blue Note era, as well as forge the future of jazz. And thank you once again, Jazz Co-op. We end with these next tunes.
this tune and what it makes, I'll just let the tune speak for itself. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much for joining us for our special tribute to my father, Ira. Amazing Grace. Good night, good luck. Thank you to wonderful, wonderful jazz co-op. Thank you so much.
Let's get a B.R.Records band.